Good day, everyone. My name is Maria Rafael Emagat, or you can call me Chow. And today I will be presenting my research proposal titled Understanding the Internal Control System of a Commercial Bank. So, first of all, I would like to acknowledge everyone, Doc Hapos, Doc Laxana, and Doc Perez. I am grateful for your time. So, to start, this study aims to assess the effectiveness of internal control systems in commercial banks, specifically focusing on their role in mitigating risks and ensuring regulatory compliance. So, first is the introduction. So, internal control systems play a crucial role in banking operations. So, ensuring financial integrity, fraud prevention, and regulatory compliance. Recent financial scandals such as the RCBC money laundering case and the Metrobank fraud highlight the importance of a strong internal control framework. So this study will evaluate the effectiveness of internal controls in commercial banks, identifying the strengths and areas for improvement. So for the next slide, we have the research gap. While numerous studies discuss risk management in banks, there is limited research specifically assessing the effectiveness of internal control systems in commercial banks. So, many previous studies focus on regulatory compliance, but they do not provide a comprehensive evaluation of internal controls based on the established frameworks, such as the Committee of Sponsoring Organizations of the Threadway Commission, are also known as the COSO. So this study aims to bridge that gap by evaluating the key components of internal control in the commercial bank. So for the next slide, we have the theoretical framework. This study is grounded on the COSO internal control integrated framework, which identifies the five key components of an effective internal control system. So first, we have the control environment, establishing a culture of integrity and accountability. We have risk assessment, identifying and evaluating risks that may affect business objectives. For the control activities, the policies and procedures to mitigate risk. Information and communication, ensuring relevant and timely information sharing. And lastly, the monitoring activities for regular assessment and improvement of control. So for the next slide, we have the conceptual framework. So this research follows the input process output model. For the input, we have the employee profiles and internal control system components, as well as the assessment tools. So for the process, conducting surveys and analyzing responses. And for the output, we have the assessment of internal control effectiveness and recommendations for improvement. So next is the statement of the problem. The main objective of this study is to assess the effectiveness of internal control systems in commercial banks. Specifically, it seeks to answer the following questions. What is the demographic profile of the respondents? How effective is the internal control system in terms of the control environment, risk assessment, control activities, information and communication, monitoring, and activities? So, is there a significant difference in the effectiveness of internal controls based on the respondents' demographic? So, these are the questions that should be answered for our statement of the problem. So for our next slide, we have the hypothesis. This study will test the following hypothesis. If there is a significant relationship between the control environment and overall effectiveness, if the risk assessment practices significantly influences the effectiveness of the internal control system, if the effective control activities are positively correlated with the reliability of the internal control systems, if there is significant impact of information and communication practices on the overall effectiveness of the internal control system, or if the monitoring activities significantly contribute to the effectiveness of internal control system, and lastly, if there is a significant difference in the perception of the effectiveness of the internal control system based on their demographic values. So for our methodology, to achieve the research objectives, we will use descriptive research method. Data will be collected through a survey questionnaire administered to employees of RCBC, Banking Operations, Finance, and Compliance Department. So the method of frequency and the percentage distribution, ranking and weighted mean, and the two-tailed t-test and analysis of variance will be used to analyze and interpret the data gathered. So in the initial paper, it was indicated that I will be using Sloven's formula. However, upon careful consideration, the researcher or I will be switching to Cochrane formula to determine the sample size required for the given level of the precisions in survey research. So for our ethical considerations, we have the informed consent, where the participants should be provided with clear and comprehensive information about the study. We also have the confidentiality, where the researcher must ensure that all data collected from the participants are confidential. Voluntary participation, they should have the freedom to decline the participation. Fairness and equity, if the researcher should ensure that the selection of participants is fair and that there is no discrimination. And the data sharing and publication ethics, where this is the researchers should ensure that the rights of the participants are respected and that they any identifiable information should not be released. So by adhering to this ethical consideration, researchers can foster trust and uphold the dignity and rights of the participants while contributing to the integrity of the research. So for the study's limitations, we have the scope of the study. This is, yeah, this is only limited to RCBC since the participants are from RCBC. For the sample size, while it may still not capture the full spectrum of the opinions since I will just be getting a sample size of 120 for the potential for respondent fatigue. If the survey requires extensive time, commitment, or includes complex questions, there might be respondent fatigue, leading to incomplete or rushed answer. That might diminish the quality of the data collected for the analysis. So for our survey questionnaire, this will be consisting of two parts. We have the demographic information, the age, education, position, and the experience. And for the part two, we have the assessment of internal control effectiveness in the five key areas using the five Likert scale, one as not effective and five as the very effective. So the researcher opted to do the survey, dividing into three different groups with 40 participants each group. We have the operations group, finance group, and the compliance. So for our expected result and conclusion, we expect that the findings to highlight both strengths and weaknesses in internal control implementation within the bank. This will provide valuable insights for improving internal policies, ensuring better compliance, and mitigating financial risks. So um, future studies could expand on this by comparing multiple banks or analyzing specific studies in more detail. So, for our recommendation, based on the expected findings, we anticipate recommending the following actions to enhance the internal control system. So, strengthen the employee training on internal control awareness. We have enhancing risk assessment procedures to proactively identify threats, improving internal communication to ensure clear dissemination of policies, conducting regular monitoring and audits to continuously improve in control measures. So these are my references for this study so far. So that concludes my presentation. Thank you for your time and attention. I am now open to any questions or feedback that you may have, and I hope you have none, no questions. So thank you.